I'm Ellis Martin. Join me now for a conversation with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corp, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as KDK.CF. Kodiak Copper is focused on the discovery of copper for a low-carbon future by sustainably and responsibly exploring its copper porphyry projects in Canada and the U.S. Kodiak Copper was founded by Chairman Chris Taylor, the founder and CEO of Great Bear Resources, which was acquired by Kinross Gold in 2022 for $1.8 billion. The company is led by Ms. Tornquist, former GM of Rio Tinto, current director of American Lithium, and a member of the Discovery Group. The management team has shown the ability to raise capital while protecting a tight share structure and attracting strategic investors such as Teck Metals. The company's most advanced asset is the 100% owned MPD copper gold porphyry project in the prolific Quesnel Trough in southern British Columbia, Canada, where the company made a discovery of high-grade mineralization in 2020 at the Gate Zone, which has since been expanded to considerable size. MPD is roughly all the hallmarks of a district-scale, multi-centered porphyry system. Claudia, welcome back to the program. Great to visit with you today.
It's great to be here, Alice.
You've just processed data from Kodiak's first holes at South Zone, extending copper mineralization to mid-zone and to depth of 0.32% copper equivalent over 234 meters, surface within 0.17% copper equivalent over 1,053 meters. That's your news release that just came out. Let's explain what that means.
The South Zone is the third target from the 5 we drilled this year, where we have results, first 2 holes only, but very promising. So that means now 3 out of 3 targets we found what we were looking for, extended mineralization significantly. And the South Zone is very exciting in that the hole we drilled just now, it links the South Zone to the Mid Zone, which is another historically drilled zone where we have near surface shallow mineralization already. And looking at the bigger picture and our data from soils as well as geophysics, it looks this might all be part of a much larger zone that's 2.3 kilometers in length or so, and extend all the way to the added zone in the north. So linking several of these historically drilled areas, and that could all be one big zone. That's our interpretation. So that's exciting. And we have more results coming from the South Zone, and we'll certainly also do more drilling there next year.
You've finished your drill program for 2023. You've analyzed everything. You have information. How will all of this information from the massive amount of drilling that you've done this year factor in what you're doing for 2024?
Well, that's the work we're doing now and over the next couple of months before we start drilling again in March or April, to really look at all the data we have now and we continue to receive and figure out what to prioritize for next year. We are not short of targets. As you know, we have 18 targets currently on the property, of which we have drilled less than half. And between those 18, we will certainly pick some for drilling next year. And we also did a large regional program this year, so there might be more targets added to our list. So all in all, we have a large system, richly mineralized, and many targets yet to be drilled, and lots more potential to just really make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
In one of the best jurisdictions in the world, and Claudia, let's discuss that, how jurisdiction is important when you're talking about building a mine, infrastructure, politics, all that.
Well, I certainly feel very fortunate to be where we are in an existing mining district in southern British Columbia, which is really an area very safe, very secure, and you know what you get. And many investors really like that, particularly if you look at some other jurisdictions where companies just are having trouble. I mean, first, Quantum's problems with their mine, the 10th biggest copper mine in the world, and Panama is one example. Many other countries in South America are getting more difficult to work in rather than more easy. So I certainly had many of our investors very much appreciate BC as a jurisdiction where very good and easy to work and safe and secure.
When I think about Panamanian copper and I think about who controls the Panama Canal now, it's basically China. I can't help but think that that copper in Panama may just go to China.
Well, at the moment, the mine is shut down. I find it's quite an incredible event. The world's 10th largest copper mine just taken offline, just like that. And yeah, actually, so obviously will have quite some impact for the general copper market.
Well, should that drive prices up ultimately?
Well, it certainly takes a chunk of supply out of the market. I'm sure there are negotiations going on now, and we will see what ultimately will be happening to this mine. But this just shows that there are many jurisdictions in this world where it is not that easy to build and operate a mine.
You and I have both been in Europe. I was in England recently, and you were in Switzerland and Germany. And we had a chat just before this interview started, and we both noted that the sentiment is very, very positive about copper and specifically Kodiak.
Well, certainly the general sentiment, that was my takeaway from talking to many investors, is getting more positive. Well, the moment of maximum pessimism seems to be over. And with inflation, interest rates all going the right way, and Chinese economy motoring along quite strongly now, second half of this year, that all bodes well, I think, for a better market than what we saw in the last couple of months going forward in 2024. So I'm quite optimistic, and that's certainly also the sense I got from many of the investors I spoke to over the last 2 weeks.
And I'm one of those investors, and I'm certainly very optimistic about Kodiak Copper. What can we see for the beginning of next year?
Well, we're now digging furiously through our data, planning for our next drill program. As I said, we still have many targets to drill, and really going forward, for us, it's all about building critical mass. We started this year mainly with the gate zone. That was the high-grade center that we had drilled before and discovered. And this year we have now tested 5 targets. So far, success at 3. So we are adding to the project, making it bigger, and we will continue on that trajectory next year, because what we really think is how we can add value for our shareholders is by really building critical mass and showing that MPD is a sizable, big project that is of the size that can make it into a major mine at some point.
Well, Claudia, it's always great catching up with you. I wish you a very happy holiday. I look forward to our next chat at the beginning of the year. Thanks so much for joining me today on the program.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you too.
I've been speaking with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corp, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange and in the U.S. on the OTCQB as KDK.CF. Go to the company's website now, KodiakCopperCorp.com. I'm Ellis Martin.
Would you like to be one of the first to see who we are following? Subscribe to our audio newsletter. It's free. EllisMartinReport.com.